Hey class, welcome back. I have been hearing from some of you that additional practice problems could be helpful, so I decided to go ahead and make a video here of a sample problem similar to the kind of thing you'd see on the homework or even on the exam. So we're told here we have a climber who's seen in the picture here, and she's just hanging out, maybe taking a rest partway through going across this canyon here, and when she's stopped, she's sitting at a point where she has basically a single rope, but because of the way that her little attachment device works, there's going to be two different tensions in the cable, a tension in the left cable and a tension in the right cable. And each of those two cables makes a different angle as shown, one 65 degrees and the other 80 degrees relative to the vertical. And we're asked to determine what the tension is in the left cable and what the tension is in the right cable. So when you first see a problem like this, you might think, oh boy howdy, what is even going on, right? And so again, as always, I tell you to trust the process, break the problem down step by step, and see if you can't find your way to a solution. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we always want to do is draw a picture, which we already kind of have a picture drawn for us. So for any force-related problem, we're asked to find tension. So we know it's a force-related problem. We need to start with a free body diagram. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the same picture for my free body diagram, but you can always draw it separately as well. All right. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. All right. So you want to start with a free body diagram. So I'm going to go ahead and make axes. All right. So let's call this the x direction, and we'll call this the y direction. And so now we need to label our forces acting. So we have a weight force going straight down, so mass times gravity going straight down. I'm going to do that in green. We're going to have some initial tension along this rope, which I'll call T1, and some second tension along this rope, which we can call T2. And now the next thing I want to do is label our angles that we know. All right, so while it may be confusing a little bit, we're told this here is a 65-degree angle. So as a result then, by corresponding angles, I believe, we know that this would also be the same angle of 65 degrees. All right, if you're not sure about that, you can prove it with geometry by determining what some of these other angles are, such as this one. Okay, and similarly, we can determine that this angle made, again, between the vertical and T2 is 80 degrees. All right, so we have a nice drawing here. Anytime we're doing these types of problems, we're going to want to do, anytime we're doing force-related problems, we're going to want to do sum of the forces. We're told this lady is just hanging stationary, so we know that the sum of all of our forces is going to be equal to 0, right? Which means that the sum of the forces in the x direction will equal 0, and the sum of the forces in the y direction will also be equal to 0. All right, but if we look at our picture, when we try to go doing the sum of the forces to try to figure out tension and so on, when we try to go ahead and do that, what we're going to find is that our forces aren't all in the x or the y direction. We can observe that the weight, mg here, yes, it's entirely in the negative y direction, but T1 and T2 both have components in the x and the y, so we need to first break those down into their x and y components. So let's do that. We want to find T1x, and we want to find T2x. And you might ask, how do we do that if we don't know T1 or T2? Well, we can do it in variable form. All right, so if we look at T1, for example, it's going to have an x component here and a y component in the vertical direction. Okay, so if we made a little triangle, we could observe that the x component, Tx, is the opposite side of our little triangle there. So the x component would be T1, it's opposite, so T1 sine of 65. And for, oh, I made a typo here. I said T1y, but wrote T2x, which we'll need later, but let's do T1y first. So T1y, the vertical component here, is going to be equal to T1 multiplied by the cosine of 65. And just in writing this, I realized, whoa, wait a second, there's something else we missed. What else did I miss? Any ideas? Well, what I missed is, look, T1x, it's going in the negative x direction. So I need to make sure we note that that's a negative value. All right, now T2 also has an x component and a y component. In this case, we can observe both x and y for T2 are going to be positive. All right, making our little triangle, we can see that T2x is going to be equal to T2, the hypotenuse, multiplied again by the sine of our angle, which is an 80 in this case. And T2y is going to be, again, the hypotenuse T2 multiplied by the cosine of the angle 80, since that is the opposite side of our triangle, or excuse me, the adjacent side of our triangle. So we got T1x is equal to negative T1 sine 65, T1y is positive T1 cosine 65, T2x is positive T2 sine 80, and T2y is positive T2 cosine 80. So let's go ahead and do some of our forces now. All right, if we start with some of the forces in the x direction to try to see if we can solve, we can do some of the forces in the x direction. And so in the positive x direction, we have T2x, which is T2 sine 80. And then we also have, in the x direction, negative T1 sine 65, and that's all, equals 0. So we can go ahead and solve a little bit, do a little algebra if we wanted to. We could say, okay, we want to find T2 or T1, and so I can move the T1 to the other side. So T2 sine 80 is going to be equal to T1 sine 65. But no matter how I write it or what I do, I don't know T1 or T2. So I can't solve yet. Bummer. I mean, we could continue with algebra if we want. Might be useful if we have to do substitution later. So I could solve for T2 by dividing both sides by the sine of 80. So T2 is going to be equal to, let's keep the colors going, sorry. It's going to be equal to T1 sine of 65 over the sine of 80. But we still don't know T1 or T2. So while that's hopefully going to be helpful later on, we're stuck and we have to continue on. So now let's try doing some of the forces in the y direction. All right, so we're going to take some of the forces in the y direction, pop it down here, and try that out. So what do we have going on in the y direction? Well, we have T1y, which we know to be equal to T1 cosine of 65. Also in the positive y direction, we have T2 y, which is T2 cosine of 80. And we also have, don't forget about it, the weight, which is in the negative y direction, so minus mg, and that's everything. Minus mg equals 0. So we know m and we know g, but we still, again, don't know T1 or T2. So it feels as though we're stuck, but look, we now have, guess what, two equations with the same two unknowns. We don't know T1, we don't know T2, but these two equations have the same two unknowns, so algebra tells us we ought to be able to solve. How do you solve two equations with two unknowns? Well, if you flash back to algebra class, there's a series of different ways. The one that's going to be simplest in this situation is what's known as the substitution method. So you can see we have an equation for T2. We're going to substitute that in to our second equation, and it will eliminate T2 as a variable, and T1 will become the only unknown. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right. So we don't mess with T1, so we still have T1 cosine 65 plus, and now we're doing the substitution. So instead of T2, I'm going to write what T2 is equal to up here. So we got T1 sine 65 divided by sine 80. That's all what T2 is, and we still have this cosine 80, don't forget about that, cosine 80. And to make it simpler, I'm going to move my mg to the other side, so minus mg becomes positive mg on the opposite side here. Okay? Sweet. All right, so now things are getting a little bit better. It's not a lot prettier. You could plug in numbers for these things, but I'm going to try to keep it as in variable form as possible to help us solve. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to buy us a little more space. So now, if I factor out my T1, I have T1 in both of these equations, here and here. If I pull that out, then all that's going to be left behind is just variables. Or excuse me, just numbers that we know, and so we can solve for T1. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I pull out my T1, I have T1 factored out. Left behind here, I have cosine of 65 plus, and left behind here, I still have my sine of 65. And now if you notice, for the blue, for the 80s, we have sine of 80 on the bottom, cosine of 80 on top. Tangent, just as a side note if you don't remember this, tangent of any angle theta is just equal to the sine of that angle divided by the cosine of that angle. So what that also means is 1 over tangent of an angle is equal to the inverse cosine of the angle over the sine of the angle. So guess what we have here? We have cosine divided by sine. We have 1 over the tangent. So I can put tangent of 80 on the bottom. And then all that we have left after that is just the weight. So this equals mg. So we can just divide and solve for T1. Oh boy, howdy, look at that. This is so nice. So we have T1 is just going to be equal to mg divided by this whole term. Cosine 65 plus sine 65 divided by the sine of 80. Keeping in mind, m is 65 kilograms, as the problem statement tells us. We can scroll up to confirm that. Yep, 65 kilograms. G is 9.8. So if you plug and chug, you ought to be able to solve and find that T1 has a value of 1,094 newtons. Boom, box worthy for sure. So we're almost done. We solved for T1, boy howdy, but we're also asked to solve for T2. How are we going to solve for T2? Well, if we look up here, look at what we have right here. We already solved for an equation, what we used in our substitution, that tells us what T2 is in terms of T1. So we can just go ahead and use that all over again. So let's go ahead and rewrite that equation that we already discovered. T2 equals T1 times the sine of 65 divided by the sine of 80. And since T1 is 1,094 newtons, we can plug that in, and we ought to be able to solve and find that T2 is equal to 1,007 newtons. Boom, box worthy once again. Boom. All right, so sorry I double boomed, but it's just really exciting. So good problem, awfully tricky, but there we go. We have solved for all of the values, and you can see the process. Notice there's a lot that we had to write down here to get to the answer. Make sure that you're showing your work, you're working through the process, drawing your picture, labeling your x and y components as we see over here, and then setting up the sum of the forces in the x and y direction. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.